Welcome back, everybody, to our full coverage of the NFL Draft, a full recap, winners and losers. In our previous video, we did all about the AFC. You can go back and watch it right after watching this one, which this is going to be on the NFC. We're going to be going over all of the NFC teams, division by division. We'll start right off here with the Philadelphia Eagles, which every single year in the draft, the Eagles now have a reputation of making like the best moves in the draft. They always seem to get the guys that everyone thinks is going to go to a certain place, but then they fall a little bit, and they always seem to fall to Philadelphia. Well, it happened yet again in this draft, and they went in a different direction. They went out and they traded up, and they got Makai Lemon, one of the biggest wide receivers coming out of college this season, going to be on the Eagles, and it adds clarity to what we've been thinking about A.J. Brown for the last few months of, is he going to get traded? Is he going to stay? Well, the reports are saying that now he's going to get traded. He's not going to be there anymore. So with that clarity, looking at what we have now with Devontae Smith and Makai Lemon and the current core of pass catchers that they have right now, what is the ceiling for Makai Lemon this season? I think that's what we need to look at. How far could he be this season? Because I think on paper, I think he's going to have the best season of any rookie wide receiver this year. I think more than Cardinal Tate. I think he's going to have a higher season and just do a little bit better than Cardinal Tate because I love the team he's on and I love the situation he's in.
Yeah, I like him as well. I think it all definitely depends on if A.J. Brown moves on from the Eagles or not as well. So we have to kind of watch that. It's looking like it's going to happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
Looking like he might, go to the Patriots, I don't know, Commanders, wherever. There's a few spots that he could land. And, yeah, that would open up, that wide receiver 2 spot for Makai to come in there and really, really take over next to Devontae Smith. So, yeah, I like him a lot. He is a speedy little guy from USC and had a lot of production. I do think he's ranked for me as like the second best wide receiver in this class next to Cardinal Tate. And, well, actually, probably third on my list. I like Jordyn Tyson as well. But, yeah, he's looking like he's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. I think the situation's a little better than Jordyn Tyson. They're both set up to be like the number 2s on their team,
Yeah.
but the interesting thing with the Eagles is because they take away A.J. Brown, you then look at all the targets that A.J. Brown would get in a season. That's a huge chunk to take out of there. Somebody has to replace it. Some is going to go to Devontae because he has the chemistry, so he's going to have probably the biggest season he's had in a number of years. And then you look back at Makai Lemon. If he's as good as people say he is, he's going to take over some of that production.
Yeah.
He's going to, this is a team that has had A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith with top 20 wide receiver seasons for both of them almost consistently year to year to year. If they like to play a 1A, 1B style offense for their 2 wide receivers, then who's to say Makai Lemon can't be a very productive 1B for a highly touted Eagles team, even with changing offensive coordinators?
Definitely. And, he has that draft capital. He was number 20 off the board in the first round. So they're going to use him, that's kind of just how it works when you draft someone that high. So I think they're going to make a place for him. And I'm really intrigued and interested in how he's going to do in fantasy, filling that slot position on the team.
And then after that, though, it's because he's not just the only new weapon coming to this team. I looked into this guy, the second round tight end, Eli Stowers. Interesting. Yeah. I'm sure you've heard this. A number of people have heard it. He was a quarterback coming into college. He actually played quarterback, then converted over to tight end. He's been a tight end for 3 years now, which means he's coming in very pure receiving guy, receiving tight end, but not a great blocker. because he's still learning the position. You don't draft a guy like that if you're just thinking of him, to not play a bigger role in this offense.
Right.
Whether it's long term, because they only signed Dallas Goedert to a 1-year deal. He's getting older. I think he's in his 30s now. So maybe they look at him to the future, or maybe they just want another weapon of AJ Brown's going to go. Are we going to put all our trust in Makai Lemon? Maybe we're going to have 2 tight ends out there. Maybe this guy's going to start getting some work with the rest of the offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I agree with you. And I think we got to look at, Dallas Goedert too, and recognize his age as well on the team. And they put some higher draft capital on Eli Stowers. He was, he was like the 3rd tight end drafted in the draft or something like that. 2nd or 3rd.
3rd, could have been 2nd. I have to look at the exact pick. But around picks like 50 to 60, there were like 3 or 4 tight ends taken.
Yeah, that's pretty big. And I think that shows, that they probably want to use him and maybe transition him into that Goddard role eventually. I don't know how long that would take, right? I think obviously Goddard has that role secured, but through injury or, what have you, Eli Stowers could be the guy 2nd on that depth chart to jump in for Dallas. If anything were to happen. So yeah, I'm very interested in him. And that, doing, being a QB is kind of crazy, and switching in college. He's a huge guy. I was looking at that and I was like, man, he has to be probably big dude now. I wonder how big he was as a QB. He's like 235 right now. That's huge.
He's huge. He's a huge guy.
Yeah.
Of all the tight ends.
Crazy.
Yeah, of all the tight ends, he's probably that were all drafted. He's probably the 2nd most intriguing one to me outside of Sadiq.
Yeah.
He's probably the only one I would think of like drafting.
Yeah.
At this point, in maybe like a late 2nd round, kind of early 3rd of like, take him, see what happens, keep him for a year or 2 on your dynasty roster. In other draft leagues, Makai Lemon is going to be competing probably anywhere from pick number 4 in rookie drafts to even number 2. Like even number 2. I think he'll probably fall between more to 3, because I think some people are going to look at Cardinal Tate going number 4 overall and just take him on that. But I don't know, man. If I were caught in the position, I would take Lemon over Tate possibly. Like that's how kind of sold I am in this position.
Dang. Yeah. That's legit. I mean, it's a high-powered offense, and there's still a lot of question marks with the Titans. So I guess from a team perspective, yeah, everything could work really well for Lemon.
Yeah.
Sure.
But we got more teams in the NFC East. We can go over them. Dallas, they didn't really do anything. It was all defensive for them. They have Caleb Downs, who seems like a super talented safety that everybody's talking about, being one of the best overall players in this draft. And then his next few picks were edge rushers, because he's still trying to get into people's heads, be like, what'd you say about Micah? What'd you say about our defensive line? We're going to get more defensive linemen. How about that? We got Quentin Williams. We got all these guys.
I mean, they're saving money by going with rookies, I guess, but
I know, but man, it gets to a point where it's like, man, you went out and got Quinnen, and now you're spending all these picks on defensive linemen just to replace the one guy that you could have had.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy.
I just think it's a little funny. Any time you can talk about Jerry Jones, it's a good time.
Agreed.
But some of the other picks we got here, New York Giants, they selected a receiver in the 3rd round by the name of Malachi Fields. I believe that's his name, Malachi, it better be. He was the 74th overall pick in the 3rd round. He's another big guy. He's mostly just for deep balls, vertical threats. The only thing I could think of him was that he was kind of slow. At least
Mm.
40-yard dash time, 4.6 is not very fast, especially for a guy that's supposed to be like your deep ball guy. But this is John Harbaugh running this team, and when he was on the Ravens, he had a lot of guys like this. He had uh not a lot of huge body guys, but Rashad Bateman and Devontae Walker, guys you would just chuck the ball down the field for. So it seems like that's what they're looking at. Maybe a guy to compete with Darius Slayton and just sort of be a deep vertical threat for now.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of like a younger Isaiah Hodgins because he's a huge dude, and Isaiah's pretty big as well. Um, and yeah, I don't know. He's one of those wide receivers that was drafted kind of mid mid rounders. There was a lot of guys that kind of went around him, and I don't think you should hold your breath with a lot of these guys. You know, as you get into the fourth and fifth rounds, he's a fourth rounder, right?
He was a third rounder.
Oh, well, even the later third rounders, I think. Um, it's just not a heavy wide receiver stacked class. So
Yeah.
uh, you never really know what could happen with these guys, with Malachi, but it seems like there's kind of a stacked wide receiver room already on the Giants. So I'm not. I think
He seems like a project. Like
yeah,
develop him and see what happens.
right, and I think he's better left undrafted until maybe hear more in OTAs or something happens with injuries down in the season. I don't think he would do too much. So
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Again, always keep your eye open. Hear what you hear. A few months from now, around training camp time, is when you start to hear the real stuff on some of these players,
yeah.
and you'll start to see a lot more on them.
Hmm.
But the last one in this division is the Washington Commanders. They took a wide receiver in the third round, Antonio Williams. From what I saw, very versatile. He's a rare player that he can throw the ball, run the ball, catch the ball, and is a good blocker. So he kind of has like the perfect four quadrant there. Keep an eye on that because for how versatile he is, it kind of makes me think that they might not bring back Deebo Samuel because that's kind of like what Deebo is sort of playing at, but he's getting older and he's not quite at the peak of where he was just a few years ago. So keep an eye on that long term. And sixth round running back Katron Allen. The only reason I bring this up is because last year they had a seventh round running back that managed to become their starter. So again, with running backs, you never really know.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. Also, I do want to say a little bit about Antonio. I do think this team does have a need for wide receivers, so he is a little bit more intriguing for me. Right behind Terry McLaurin. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Behind Terry
McLaurin.
McLaurin, there's really no one that is holding any heavy weight in in the room there. So there's Van Jefferson and Dalmy Brown. Antonio Williams could easily try to compete for one of these roles. And you never know. I mean, I do like Jalen Lane, the rookie out of last year, and they have Luke McCaffrey. There's just a handful of guys that really haven't done much um, on this team. So I do think Antonio has a chance to compete and maybe slide into that wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 role even. So watch out for him. It's
Yeah.
definitely not a bad team to be placed on um, for fantasy purposes.
Start to move into the NFC North here, and this is probably the least newsworthy of all the divisions. Almost none of these teams actually took a lot here. The Green Bay Packers, the only thing I took of note is that they, in the 6th round, they took a kicker named Trey Smack. Trey Smack. And guess what, Jake? That's not even his real name. His real name is, get ready for this, James Smack the Third.
Wow.
His real name. Honestly, why even go for a fake name at that point? That is an amazing real name.
Yeah. Then the fact that
James
he's
Smack
the
third.
There's been 2 other James Smacks. That's insane.
They love their smacks, man.
I mean,
unbelievable.
I guess so. That's wild.
There's no news on that other than that was just the best thing I've heard all week. But we move on to some of the other teams. The Bears, they drafted a tight end in the 3rd round. Not going to affect Loveland at all. Again, just a pass blocking tight end. That's his specialty. And a late 3rd round receiver in Xavier Thomas. They already have a bunch of weapons. I'm not too concerned about that.
Yeah, definitely just some depth play there.
Yeah. Same with the Detroit Lions. Drafted a wide receiver in the 5th round. Got a lot of guys already. And the Vikings drafting a running back in the 6th round, which, I don't know. Maybe it could be something. Probably not. But we'll go on to the NFC South then. Moving on to this division. This division's a little bit more interesting. A bit more interesting weapons. The Falcons is the first one I want to talk about. They drafted Zachariah Branch, and I like this move.
This is cool.
They've kind of just had Drake London's been the top guy for a couple of years, and everybody outside of that, the only other guy they've had was Darnell Mooney, who looked okay when Cousins was in the lineup, and then never did anything else with anybody else on the QB roster. But Zachariah Branch, he plays completely differently. He's his own guy. He's like Ladd McConkey. It's funny to say his own guy and then compare him to someone else, but I mean on the team. He's not like Drake London, so he'll carve out more of a role for himself. I think he adds great variety to this offense.
I agree. He's one of those smaller, speedy, shifty guys, right? And these guys always fall, to later rounds because I think they're more prone to injury just because of how small they are. Potentially, like this dude's 180 pounds in the NFL. That's pretty pencil-like, going against these guys. So I think that's the main concern. But dude is a great wide receiver. I mean, he started on all of the teams he was on in college, and he was on big teams. He started at UCLA, and then he went to Georgia and was their number 1 wide receiver.
By the way, funny that how everybody compares him to Ladd McConkey, also a Georgia Bulldog.
Right.
So maybe that's just how the offense works. That's how they want to use him again. So
I could see it.
I think it works out for both sides. I think this is a good move.
I agree, and I think a steal for what they got him at. I think they could definitely use him in an interesting way. He could be a gadget guy. I don't know. A lot like Tez Johnson. Remember, he fell. All these guys. Yeah. But I think they definitely have their place in fantasy and could be a great flyer pick that you can get in later rounds. So watch out for him for sure.
The Panthers themselves, they got their own wide receiver in the 3rd round, Chris Brazell the 2nd. And when I was looking at him, I'm like, oh, okay. He's a big, lanky guy, vertical threat. Was known primarily for just catching passes deep down the field. Congratulations, you got your Xavier Legette replacement. And that's exactly what it was. I'm sorry, Xavier Legette. They just drafted another Xavier Legette, so you're getting replaced.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Panthers, and before
that's what this move
Xavier
was.
Legette, it was that other guy that I can't think of, but they like getting guys like this. I think the NFL likes guys like this, and they just don't pan out, man. They just don't.
Here's the problem with Xavier Legette. I don't think they're expecting Brazil to be this incredible top of the line wide receiver. I think they just want him to do his job,
Mm,
which is not what you could say about Xavier Legette. He dropped a lot of passes. That
that's
was kind
true.
of the big issue. So if this
Yeah.
guy can come in and just, run the routes and catch more of what's thrown to him, then they did their job. I think that's just what they want at this point in the
Yeah.
offense. We'll see if he has that dog in him. You
We'll
know
see.
who might have that dog in him? Who the Buccaneers took, also a wide receiver, also the third round. I'm starting to see a trend here. Ted Hurst.
Mm,
This name was popped up to me by Nick Saban when I was watching the draft on ESPN, and they're like, "Hey, Nick Saban, famous college head coach Nick Saban that everybody respects, most
yeah.
people." And they're like, "Who do you love coming out of this draft that you think nobody's talking about?" He's like, "Ted Hurst." Ted Hurst, and I start hearing that name, Ted Hurst. Okay, let me look into Ted Hurst. He's really good. At least on tape, he looks really good.
Mm,
He looks like a dominant, and even the commentators within the highlight clips are like, once he catches the ball, they're like, "Yep, saw it coming." Like they see this guy as a legitimate threat. And we've seen, last couple of years, the Buccaneers have brought wide receivers in, Jalen McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, and they come in and they look great in camp.
yeah.
Everybody talks about them highly, and they go out and they perform. It doesn't necessarily mean that this guy's going to be a huge fantasy asset right away, but
Mhm.
they like having a large group of wide receivers that they can throw to.
They
When the
do.
offense is humming, when Baker is playing well, then everybody eats.
Yeah, they always seem to pick pretty good wide receivers, like guys that can slot in, anytime someone's injured and do work.
Yeah.
Um, I do like this guy, and I really like his prototype. Uh, on paper looks really promising, like 6'3", 195. Um, could be he's a 50-50 ball guy. I heard about him before the draft. He's one of those like sleeper guys that I heard about um myself, and I do think he could come in and prove to be, a guy that can step up. Definitely is further down in the depth chart just because there's so many guys, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how he develops and how he is in minicamp and OTAs. Um, because this is a team to watch wide receivers.
Yeah.
Always
And
something that
and
happens, and they always
and
need
you
him.
never know. That spot's open.
Yeah,
Mike Evans is now gone. In their
true,
mind, it's
true.
like we do have a spot open for the guy, and I think they want it to be Egbuka to take it over. But who knows? What if a guy comes in out of camp? What if and outperforms him? I think Chris Godwin's already stuck in his role of where he is. Jalen McMillan could elevate a little bit, but we've kind of seen that they found a role for him when he's healthy as well.
Hmm.
So who knows?
Yeah, definitely one to
But
watch.
But if we're talking about receivers with like incredible amounts of potential, the last team in the NFC South has the biggest wide receiver here, New Orleans Saints, Jordyn Tyson, taken the 8th overall pick, and I think we all think the same thing of Jordyn Tyson. There's a chance he's the most talented receiver in this
Hmm.
and in this entire draft. I know I've talked about Makai Lemon just being that, but but I mean like physically in
Oh
terms
yeah.
of his his catches, his jumps for the ball, his just pure as a pure playmaker, he could be the biggest star coming out of this. I don't love the situation fantasy wise. It's not a bad situation. Tyler Shuck could be interesting. He's, Chris Olave on the other side. It could help him. It could hurt him. We don't know. But it's not like right now I just see them as a competent offense. Until I see more, they're just kind of like a little bit middling at the
Mhm.
moment. So he's still kind of like top five, maybe out slightly outside the top five, but the talent's there.
Oh yeah. No, I I agree. I mean, I think he's easily slotted to come in here and take over for the wide receiver 2 spot next to Chris Olave. And, I mean, Chris Olave gets hurt, right? He's had a concussion problem, and if that continues, it could be bad, and it could easily open up Jordyn Tyson to be that guy on the team. So that's huge. And I think,
Yeah,
I think Jordyn Tyson, Makai Lemon, and Carnell Tate, these guys, they're all so intriguing to me, and it'd be tough for me to pick one right now. I'm still trying to wrap my head around, who who to go with over the three, but Jordyn Tyson is definitely an intriguing guy. He does have an some injury problems that he's been working through in
definitely.
college.
He has he probably would have been drafted higher if it wasn't for
Yeah.
his injury history.
Oh yeah, he could have been the number one for sure. But he does have an injury history with his legs. I guess, ACL, MCL, PCL. Kind of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, just the whole thing, just the whole leg. I think it's the whole leg that they're concerned about.
Yeah. So, if he stays healthy, he could be a massive fantasy asset.
Yeah,
He can do it all. He is definitely an athletic freak, and I'm excited for him. I know. I really wish he had a better quarterback, but I do like Tyler Shuck, and I think that the team's has a lot of faith in him this year, which is interesting because he did show up a little bit later in the season last year and kind of started to prove himself worthy of taking over the team. But we'll see how it goes. I'm very intrigued by this guy.
it's a fully fleshed out group now
Yeah.
that after the end of the season, after they brought in Travis Etienne, you now look at all the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, the big four. You look at them all together, it's like, okay, that's like a very solid, competent group of good players. So we'll see how it all pans out when it gets into the season. I want to see what Kellen Moore can do in his second year in the offense. There's a chance it could be a sleeper, fun team.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep my eyes open on that. And I wouldn't hold Jordyn Tyson's injury history against him just yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
And we can end this off right here with the final division, our division, Seahawks division, the NFC West. And we could start right off with the Super Bowl champs, Seahawks. Yes! We got our guy, man. We got our guy.
Man.
I didn't think we'd get him.
Bud Clark.
I kept thinking, no.
Julian Neal.
Oh, good old Bud Clark.
Oh, you're talking
Julian
about
Neal.
Bo Steffens, right?
Oh, we got like
Andre
4
Ford.
cornerbacks in this draft. What's wrong with us? Dude, no, it was so exciting because for months, I was like, okay, clearly we're not going to get Kenneth Walker back. We need a running back. I didn't think we were going to draft a guy in the first round. I thought we were going to go for other needs that we could have traded out of the first round. And I'm like, there's no way we're going to get Jadarian Price. There's no way. I don't trust us. It's not going to happen. Some team's going to trade above us. Something's going to happen. No. They listened. And we got him, and it's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy, I don't want my love for the Seahawks in this last season to cloud my judgment, but Jadarian Price is one of only 2 running backs that is going to get a significant play time.
Oh, yeah.
That we know about this season, and that is going to boost his stock up high. He's going to be top 5, maybe even a little higher by the time a lot of people start having their rookie drafts, because there's a need for running backs. There's need for starting running backs within Dynasty. And there's a good chance he could be starting even though he's in a committee because Zach Charbonnet is still recovering from his torn ACL.
Yeah. I know. That's the big thing. That's making me super excited for this guy. I definitely think in rookie drafts, he has the potential to go, top 5. I'm thinking 5-6 range, first round. in rookie drafts, number 5, 6. But we'll see. But there's definitely like a Grand Canyon size difference between Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, and then the other running backs in the draft class. It's kind of one of those things. It's just not a very strong draft class, in my opinion. But
no, and coming off an incredible draft class, we should have expected that.
Yeah, and it's hilarious too that these guys were on the same team, Price and Love. So, oh man, I'm excited, dude. It's gonna be awesome, and
it's gonna be so good
for fantasy. Definitely draft him. Don't think that just because we have,
Charbonnet
there, that he's gonna be splitting with him the whole time. Charbonnet's still hurt. We don't know exactly. His timeline should be like earlier in the season he'll come back, but it's like at
what percentage of health?
What percentage of health exactly? Yeah. So and we have Emmanuel Wilson, who I actually like. That could help out there, but new offensive coordinator. So maybe it will be all Jadarian Price. We don't know, guys. But he's definitely
could be, but
going to be used because he was a first round pick. So we'll see.
But it could be, but we're trying to run this as close to Clint Kubiak's offense as possible. Whether that works or doesn't work, we'll have to see as the season goes along. Yeah. But that's the plan. And if people remember Clint Kubiak, if people were actually paying attention outside of the fantasy world, because you might look at the stats of Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker of last season and think, oh, you weren't doing a great job of running the ball. That may be true. But also, our offense was literally built around the run. We were more run heavy than any team in the league. We ran the ball more than any team in the league, even if it didn't work, because we did it all to set up the pass. So even if it's not, this is as good of a situation as you're going to get for a running back, because he's going to put the ball in your hands a lot, and he's going to give you a lot of opportunities. So we're going to see exactly what Jadarian Price is made of. He's got something to prove. If he's as good as he says he is, because he's like, oh, I could have been a starter anywhere. These are not his words, sorry. He could have been a starter anywhere if it wasn't for Jeremiah Love. I'd love to see that. I want to see how good he can be on his own.
Yeah, and he'll get that chance on his shoulder for sure. And I think he's got something to prove.
Yeah.
So. But dude, also Seahawks took Emmanuel Henderson, which
you mean Emmanuel? Yeah.
Wide receiver.
There we go. 199. Hey, you know who else went 199? Tom Brady.
I mean,
I'm just saying, man.
Exactly. You never know.
Not trying to say he's going to be the greatest player of all time, but maybe he will be the greatest player of all time.
You never know.
A late 6th round pick, but
probably not going to do anything.
You never know. You never know. Yeah. We'll move on to the 49ers here, who went and got 2 very interesting picks here. In the first pick of the 2nd round, they drafted their own wide receiver, Dejon Stribling, who I've seen this guy play. I've seen the tape. He's very athletically gifted. He's a very tough, physical runner. You know, when people are running at him, he puts his head down. Like, he puts his head down, he's going to run over you. For me, obviously a lot of people are going to throw out his name and they really love him. I personally see a boom or bust guy with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see intangibles, but I don't know if he's going to be ready right away. That's just me. I don't know if a lot of people have been saying that, but I think he's going to be the definition of a boom or bust prospect. And he's going to be thrown into the fire. He very well might be, because they are lacking some people at the moment. George Kittle's currently recovering from an injury. Mike Evans very likely will be recovering from an injury at some point in his season, because he's Mike Evans and he's got a hamstring problem.
Yeah.
And so the stage is set for him to make an immediate impact. Whether he's ready or not, that's up to him. But I think that alone is going to propel his draft stock. He's going to be first round in rookie drafts.
Dang, really? You think so?
I think he's going to be first round.
I disagree.
I think people are going to look at him and the Niners and they're going to be like, oh, peanut butter and jelly.
I guess. I mean, I'm intrigued. He was a second round pick. Higher second round, and number 33. That's like the second.
That's the first. It's the first
Or
pick.
that's the first in the second round to go off the board.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's pretty intriguing. To be honest, I didn't hear much about this guy before he got drafted. And I don't know. I just don't know what to think, bro, because something about San Francisco and the guys that they get just rub me the wrong way for some reason.
They got a running back in the third round. And this surprised me. This was the third running back taken in the draft. And it was by the Niners, and it was a guy I had never heard of. I hadn't heard anybody talk about this guy. But also an Indiana Hoosier. Played with Fernando. Played with, Omar Cooper Jr. Played with that whole setup. When I watched him, it's like, okay, he's big running back, can truck people over, but he also's got some like nice footwork, like can make people miss with little juke moves and whatnot. I liked what I saw, but honestly, I don't even really care about what I saw because he's going to be on San Francisco, and they have an impenetrable track record with making good running backs. 100% success rate. No matter what happens, he's going to be the new backup under Christian McCaffrey. He's going to be drafted for that regardless. And he's going to be good because he's on a seemingly perfect system.
We'll see.
We've only got 2 teams left. The Los Angeles Rams, they made the biggest, most shocking move of the draft, which honestly was not that shocking to me. It was only just the pick that they took him in. Quarterback Ty Simpson, number 13 overall. They had 2 first-round picks, but they took him with their first of those first 2 first-round picks. I think that's what shocked people, because people have been mocking Ty Simpson to go to the Rams for months. That wasn't a shocking thing. It was just how early they picked him up. It's a quarterback that he's a developmental project. He's going to be their Jordan Love, their Patrick Mahomes, where they're going to sit him this season. They're probably going to sit him next season. And hopefully he becomes their quarterback of the future. And they didn't want to take the risk of anybody trading up in front of them to take that, like the Cardinals were seemingly rumored to do that. So they picked him early. Is it the right move to make for a team trying to win the Super Bowl? Who knows? Probably not. But they're trying to secure their future, and they're not going to have a pick this high in future drafts.
Yeah, so I think it makes sense. Could be interesting though. Just I don't know. Yeah, if they don't have one next year, I think the quarterback draft class is going to be a little bit better. But there's going to be more competition to try and get quarterbacks. I think it makes sense for them to have him and at least see, if they could develop him.
Yeah.
I don't mind this draft strategy that teams have. I think it makes sense to plan for the future. And I know a lot of Rams fans were unhappy because it's not an immediate move, but it could work out in the future. Do you want to be drafting Ty Simpson in fantasy this year? No, probably not. I mean, if you're in Dynasty, I think he's
worth an end of draft. Yeah, he's a third round, like, take a shot on him.
Yes.
Just in case. Like, I have Matthew Stafford in one of my leagues. Like, should I take a shot on him just in case? Probably.
Honestly, yeah.
Because Matthew Stafford's going to retire at some point. He's great now, but he's probably got no more than a couple of years left.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But then, yeah. It's just funny because you watch these interviews after they drafted Ty Simpson, and Sean McVay's like, yeah, Matthews, we're planning on him to go all the way through 2026 and maybe beyond, maybe 2028. he'll retire. I don't know. We'll see. And it's like, then it's like, okay, well, that's cool. Maybe hype up
Why do
Ty
you look
Simpson
so
a little bit
unhappy
more.
in those press conferences?
Yeah, for real. I don't know, but it's one of those things. Could really work out. He could be the next Jordan Love. You never know.
He could be. And I know some people don't like Jordan Love, but you know what? Some teams just want an above average starter, and Jordan Love, when he plays well, he's an above average starter.
Yeah.
And that's what you want as a QB generally. You're not always going to get the top 3 quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked over Ty Simpson, what I did see was, okay, I see some foundation there. He's really good in the pocket. Like, he's good at escaping pressure, and then when he's on the run, he just stops, sets his feet, and then makes good throws.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something you always see. He like develops well. He's got certain intangibles that are very good to coach up. That I think makes him a decent project. If I had to play devil's advocate, I'm not just going to sit here and say that Sean McVay is great at developing quarterbacks just because he's a great offensive mind. We have already seen in years past that some guys, that doesn't always translate. For example, Trey Lance with Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
Take, for example, J.J. McCarthy with Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings. Just because you're a highly intelligent offensive mind and everyone says, oh, you're this quarterback whisperer, that doesn't automatically mean you can develop young rookie quarterbacks. It's a lottery. You don't know what you're going to get or how quickly a guy can develop or if they can develop at all. You can only do your best to do that. A lot of these guys work better with veteran QBs. That's why Jared Goff was traded for Matthew Stafford, because he wanted a stronger veteran, one where he wasn't just running the offense 100% of the time and telling Jared Goff what to do every single play.
Fair enough.
I know there's not a huge amount to add on that, but I think this is just very, very fascinating scenario, and I think a lot of people
it's always fascinating when
they just people get mad about it way too quickly.
Yeah, I agree.
They also drafted a tight end in the 2nd round, which they have too many.
Max Clare.
Stop drafting tight ends. You have so many tight ends.
Every single draft they draft a 2nd round tight end. It's insane.
What are they looking for? Are they looking for like their own Travis Kelce every year? And when they realize they don't have one, they're just like, all right, let's just get the next one. The last team we're going to talk about has probably the biggest offensive player, not named Fernando Mendoza, in this draft. Number 3, Jeremiyah Love. Now, is this the exact spot that everybody wanted for him? No. It wasn't my first choice. I would have preferred the Titans. I would have preferred the Commanders. I would have preferred even maybe the Giants, just because I think the Giants could be very interesting. But everybody remember, I'm sure some people are going to remember Ashton Jennings from last year, a great running back that went to a team that was not ready for a big run game, heavy offense, an offensive line that was not ready for it. And I think people might not want to get burned again.
Yeah.
But I think this could be a little different. I don't think the Cardinals are quite as, this is going to sound weird, but I don't think they're quite as bad as everybody remembers them to be last year. They had a huge amount of injuries last year, but nobody was following that because of the Cardinals. And it was all across their defense, all across their offensive line, every skill position. Their whole team got hurt. I think their team is still going to be mediocre. It's still not going to be great. I think there is too much talent with Jeremiyah Love to say he's going to have a bad season. Yeah. He will be probably a little better than what Ashton Jennings was his season, which means he'll be a top 10 running back.
And here's the deal. He not only has the run ability, he has the receiving ability. And that's why he's kind of a unicorn type of running back. So I think on this team where they, they have their best wide receiver, which is their tight end. and Trey McBride, obviously.
Yeah.
Outside of that, Jeremiah Love could be the guy that they go to. Let's be honest here. I want it to be Marvin Harrison. Probably not going to be Marvin Harrison for whatever reason, because they're crazy. But yeah, man, I think that if we it depends on who the quarterback is on this team too, right? Is it going to be Jacoby Brissett to start? Then
it's going to be Jacoby.
Then, dude, Jacoby passes the football, bro. Jeremiah Love is going to go flipping crazy. And that's what I think. I mean, I've always been a fan of James Conner, and James Conner's always done really well on this team. So I think if Love could come in and fill that role, he's going to be good. Like these guys, every running back that they've had, I think is a decent running back. And I was excited for Trey Benton to come in. Looks like he's not really going to do anything anymore. Maybe competing with Love, but like Love's going to take over 100%.
Here's the thing. You don't I said this when I did a shorts video on Jeremiah Love. When they drafted Saquon Barkley, they weren't saying like, oh, he's going to split carries with Wayne Gallman. You drafted Saquon Barkley to be the game-changing running back of your franchise. They drafted Jeremiah Love because he's going to be the game changer. I don't care what their plan was beforehand.
Yeah.
Their ownership came in and they said, we want the hot, flashy running back. And you're paying this guy. It's not just that. You're paying him.
Insane.
You're paying him a lot of money for a running back.
They're paying him the most that any running back's ever gotten when they've been drafted. So, yeah.
He's got more guaranteed money than Saquon. He's going to get the ball a lot. Yeah. So a freaking lot.
He is. He's going to get a lot.
And they have Carson Beck that they took in the 3rd round, which I saw some stuff on Carson Beck. Not a huge fan. I think he could be decent. It seemed like
they just needed somebody.
Because they didn't want to go through a full season with Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
So this is their Tyler Shuck pick of maybe we draft a guy that has had a lot of experience in college, has started for 3 years, but he was in college for like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, when we bring him in, hopefully he just doesn't embarrass himself. Maybe if he does well enough, we'll give him a shot next year.
Yeah.
But that is to be determined.
Yeah, I agree. It's a tough one.
Yeah. But other than that, that is it. We just went through every single NFL team, the entire draft, recapping all their biggest players for fantasy of the main 4 positions. Thank you so much to everyone that watched. If you managed to watch both of them, great. Thank you. In a complex fantasy world, just remember to stay simple. God bless everyone.
Stay simple.